Well, happy Tuesday, everybody. It's New Year's Eve. This would normally be a Wednesday here in Orchard Park, but a short week means less time to practice, so they're out here today. It's quarter zip season for Joe Buscaglia and I as we get ready for the playoffs. Joe, Sean McDermott has been very tight-lipped about everything this week, but as we look towards the matchup, just your initial impression on the Texans.
Well, this is a team that is trending in the opposite direction of what they want to at the moment, especially defensively. Now, the good part for them is that they are probably getting J.J. Watt back, who is a complete wrecker of offensive game plans. And if everyone fondly recalls back in, I think it was 2014, when he essentially ended the E.J. Manuel era with his interception.
Pick six, right?
Yep, the pick six. Which, by the way, Ryan Fitzpatrick was playing in that game, but
Yes.
neither here nor there. He's just the type of talent that can absolutely flip a game upside down, and so the Bills are really going to have to be cognizant of him, especially if he's going up against rookie Cody Ford, because that's where he usually lines up. But for the most part, defensively, this offensively for the Bills, this is a matchup that they should be able to exploit a little bit. Of all the playoff teams, this is probably their best matchup in the AFC, that is, for them to potentially advance into the next round. So this is setting up well for them. Now they have to do a couple of key things defensively. They have to make sure Tre'Davious White does his job on DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah. I mean, he did a solid enough job against Hopkins last year, but still he had some areas he needed to get better on, which was taking too many penalties. But they need to get after Watson because he hangs on to the ball and go from there. But it is definitely a winnable game.
So when we watched the last game unfold, there were some injuries that popped up. And I think the most notable, was kind of proven today because he wasn't on the field, was Levi Wallace. Now, there's a report from Tom Pelissero of NFL Network that he's day-to-day with an ankle sprain. If Levi Wallace can't go, which we're not saying is going to be the case, but there's potential there, can Kevin Johnson hold down the fort? I mean, obviously, he played in Houston the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think he can. I mean, he's got the and I'm going to get super football nerdy here, but he's got the right. Preaching to the choir. When you watch him on film,
You're going to talk about his hips, aren't you?
oh yeah, he can flip his hips.
I've picked up so much over the years.
He's got very fluid hips to where if a guy does a double move on him and he has to turn him around really quickly, then he can get up the field in a hurry. So that part of his game is really solid, and you see that just on random reps. And does he need to get better as a tackler a little bit? Yes, but he's also very willing and rushes after the guy in the flat or the running back. He does a lot in run support. So I think there wouldn't be too much of a drop-off there. I think it would be pretty equal. In fact, it could even be a little better just because Levi tends to struggle with physicality a bit more than Kevin Johnson does. But they're going to need him, especially if Will Fuller can play in this game, because Will Fuller, for those that don't know, is a speed demon. Will Fuller the fifth. And if he is able to play in this game, which we don't know yet, then Kevin Johnson's ability to flip those hips is going to be integral to this matchup.
If the Bills don't win, which is, of course, obviously a possibility. Vegas thinks it's a 3.5-point line. That basically means it's a pick'em. What will be the biggest reason why?
Not being able to get enough heat on Deshaun Watson. And I think if you give him enough time, he will get you. He is very intelligent. He knows how to pick apart a defense when given enough time. The trouble is, if things break down around him, then his accuracy tends to dip a bit more. And I think that's what we saw the last time when the Bills played the Texans last year. Jerry Hughes had a really strong day in that game, but there's a difference this year. They went out and acquired Laramie Tunsil from Miami for a first-round pick, and he's one of the best left tackles in the game. So Hughes is going to have to get his stuff going. And on the other side, Trent Murphy needs to capitalize on the job that he did this past week, because for the most part, he hasn't been all that good this year. But when you see the type of performance that he had against the Jets, that is a good sign of things to come. And then getting Shaq Lawson back integrated. He practiced on Tuesday, which was an encouraging sign. I would doubt he does anything but play this game just because I know what type of competitor he is. And so those two guys on the other side of the defense, and certainly in the middle with Ed Oliver taking some pressure off of Jerry Hughes, I think that will be the key to getting Watson off his spot and creating some harmony for the defense to where Josh Allen and the offense doesn't have to put enough pressure on themselves.
So about 10 minutes before we recorded this interview, we actually talked to Shaq Lawson. He's like, oh yeah, I'm playing in this game. So it's playoff week here. It's quarter zip week for Joe and I. For Joe Buscaglia, I am Matt Bove. Thanks for watching.